Uh, so, we have something which it's not that improvisation, it's obvious thing which we should do. It was obvious since the day that I declared that we will unite Perl community and Koha community. But now we have here in this room, all of you, represented as well by these stakeholders, people we have here. You definitely know some of them, but this we also make an effort to explain whom we have here and maybe whom else we have, which organizations we have represented here. Main idea of this panel, let's aim to make it in 1 hour. So we will have half an hour to reorganize and follow up to reception in Kupoli on 7 o'clock. But it's just starting impulse, starting panel for uniting two communities, Perl and Koha communities, not for these 5 days, but make this unity last for forever. But generally, it's a fact. It's a fact of a birth of Koha, because Koha made in Perl and never will be made on something else. Otherwise, it will be not Perl or not Koha. So this bond made once and forever. But for some reason, these siblings grow up, and Perl is a strong and big something somewhere, and Koha was just one of the Perl products. But nowadays, Koha became uprising, trendy, demanding, and pretty available with available resources product. See, we have this conference made by Koha. Koha made this conference for us. So actually, Perl now should revisionize how Perl accepts Koha, and I want us to make an impulse to make Perl to trust and believe that Koha is a Perl flagship product for upcoming years, and for Perl community to invest efforts in Koha, and for Koha community to help Perl community to live and thrive, if how much is possible this to do in current ChatGPT generated code world. But let's see. So it will be, I want to initialize dialogue and brainstorming and further development through tomorrow evening party today, tomorrow's day coffee breaks, networking. I want to initialize this this mindset that we should work, all of us together, of how to make Koha and Perl living hand by hand from now and forever. This panel, and all of you invited as well, we will bring a microphone for you, this funny microphone. Yes, we have more better one for us. So, but please, don't think that you are in the room is just listeners. It's some kind of round table, but very huge round table here. And we have, those guys are made huge impact inside Perl community and inside Koha world and inside Koha business world as well. Not only by person, but also by organizations behind, and part of you anyway, part of their team as well. So please feel yourself as one whole now. So these emotions, this feeling that we not one part Perl and another part Koha community, I call you to accept that we are from now one single, bigger lump of something much more powerful, and let's like make this bond stronger after this panel on that cocktail session and whatever we will have through these days. But now, more to details. First of all, I want to say that this slide is not full. We should have here Australia, New Zealand. We should have here also Canada. So don't blame me. I didn't fill all the names here, but also as well, I started to say that we have something here. We have some people who represent these organizations or structures or communities. And also because despite we saying that we are now all something big and whole, anyway, we came from different worlds and one part of us don't know another part of us. It would be only my talk if I will start to do a stand-up and presenting every one of you or do a jokes. So I will share this responsibility a little with you. So I think, not think I will do, I will provide you with microphone and I will ask every one of you to represent organization or yourself or whatever behind you, what's your impact on Perl or Koha. And also, please be not greedy, include in your presentation someone also from the room whom we forgot, whatever. Okay, so let me start from closest one. We have Esa-Pekka here, who is co-organizer and main organizer of this conference like me, but my boss.
Say again, what was...
Present yourself, present organizations. Yeah, you will
okay,
up,
okay.
It will be, sorry for taking you as
yes. Yeah, so I have introduced myself a few times already, but my name is Esa-Pekka and I'm an information systems manager at the National Library, and I'm responsible for Koha, for our IT development infrastructure, our internal communications and training platforms and a few other things. And I've been working in library for over 30 years. The last 5 years have been the first time I have been working with library systems. I have been able to do everything else but the core thing. But I've been learning about Koha and library system management, and I hope I'm learning more.
I will put myself in between people, if possible, for some. Esa-Pekka didn't say it, but this is very important for people to understand that you and your vision was very important how for now happened with Koha in Finland and how Koha developed in Finland and why we inside our small 3 Ukrainian developers in National Library of Finland team stepped over these borders and went into global Koha core team. So this was your vision, and you also affecting how Finland Koha area develops. So actually it's not to praise you only, but also to say that this person, for all of you to know, understands and impacts how Koha grows and how library system at all develops in Finland. So if we need to change something in Koha to fit for Finland, or if we need something to change in Finland to fit for Koha or other things, Esa-Pekka at least can start something or give some prey to hunt for some other person. But so this is representative of Finland in some point among those people. Let's think so. Curtis.
My name is Curtis Poe, better known to those of you in the Perl community as Ovid. I have been programming in quite a number of different languages, mostly specializing in Perl for 2 decades now. I was with the Perl Foundation for most of those 2 decades. I recently stepped down, so I have a lot of experience, not just on the development side, but also on the community side, how foundations and organizations work. And I think this is a very interesting initiative that Andrii is pushing. Thank you.
So again, we have Perl Foundation representative here, even you are already not. What?
I did resign.
Yes, so you resigned from them, but at least all that effort what you made through decade, you made everything for Perl to grow globally, to be whatever Perl it is and grow further. So this is representative of global Perl world.
Hello, my name is Thomas Klausner, or Dom. I used to do the YAPSI Europe Foundation, which organized the Perl conferences in here. I was one person doing that, a lot of other people. And besides that, I'm doing freelance Perl programming and randomly for a few years Koha. And I found it quite interesting that even though I was doing Perl for like 25 years or something, I only learned about Koha a few years ago. It's like weird. Because it's such a big community, obviously.
So I would also say that Thomas was one of venue committee when we decided which next city Perl conference in Europe will happen. Thomas was among those people. Then COVID destroyed these things, and we have some mess and some historical reasons, and Perl evolution and Perl forking to Raku made some complications for this everything. But that's the good thing that we are here, because we somehow trying to catch the flag and make this continue and growing, not and having such experience in our initiative team, it's great thing.
Hello, my name is Salve Nielsen. I've been active or doing something in the Oslo Perl community in Norway since 2002. If I'm going to brag about something, I've only done one thing, I think, for the Perl community, and that was starting something called the PerlKohaCon, which later turned into the Perl Toolchain Summit. Just a pretty nice little group of people who work on the tooling that makes CPAN and testing and building of Perl software possible. And lately, as we talked about in the lightning talks, I've been also helping around trying to establish a security community there. Other than that, I'm in general an open source fan. I've been earning my living on this since middle of the 90s, so I'm getting old too. Yes. Should you introduce everybody? Because we're going to spend all time on this.
I trying to, it's not that I trying to overcover everyone saying. I want to expand as much as possible, even repeating the same things for people here, for people there, for people here to know the better whom we have here, which potential each of you having. You might be shy to declare your potential, but I'm not. So that's why I am. Also, it's good now, I have my own tool to speak. Yeah, I can interrupt you now freely anytime. But Salve is always everywhere on every Perl conferences we had before. When I joined Perl community in 2013, when Perl conference came to Kyiv, then I didn't miss any of Perl conferences in Europe, and more because of people like Salve. You remember I started to speak with you on some modules, and you gave me some advices how to be more in community. So actually you are among those people, of course, after Larry Wall, so who made also those visits for those conferences precious for me. And you're representing Perl community as well. You also connected with Perl Foundation even now. You visiting FOSDEM conferences with Perl Foundation people, so you was on panel this year. So that's
I have to add to that it was super easy just to reply to you because you are so much trying to make shit happen, make anything happen. So it's like, wow, this guy, he needs like some encouragement because we need more people like you. So that's why I wanted to like keep you going. So it's all your fault.
Okay, okay. But I will continue. So your experience and your vision, as well as others, will be precious for us to rebuild this initiative and make things going further. Next, Chris, please.
I'm going to go really fast. I'm Chris Cormack. I started working with Koha in 1999.
Thing is, my story now. It looks like I telling you my imaginary world for you, and it's not matches with what we have here. Sorry, but Chris, isn't you that guy who we can say created Koha? But one of those guys who created Koha. Please accept this. Yes, it looks like it's very important. You are created Koha with 3. Can you name 2 others?
It was Simon Blake and Rachel Hamilton Williams.
Thanks for them as well. But we have here, and I'm trying to expand potential of each person we have here to explain for Perl community who, for example, should be surprised that we have Koha creator here. And you maybe didn't know or know that, but here he is. And Koha people knows this person, but Perl people should now respect and you know, you like Larry Wall, but in Koha world. Slightly smaller, but so much important because you was on the route. So please, thank you and follow up. So Nick.
I'm Nick. I'm here representing Bywater Solutions, who have brought Koha to many libraries in the U.S. and hopefully to all of them. I mean, I think eventually, altruistically, completely. I've been a part of the Koha community for 9 years now. Take it away.
So it's not only about you, but also about organization behind you. Nick represents here Bywater Solutions. It's one of the 3 biggest business players in Koha world, and one of sharers of spends for this conference, by the way, for us. So for Perl people, those organizations were money hidden. So we can propose services for them. So you're representing these powerful organizations, which actually controls all the US. And what other areas Bywater Solutions covers except United States? Customers from where you have?
We have a few in Europe, Canada, yeah, a few other places.
So should we say Canada?
No? That's
But you're looking there.
Co-opetition.
And moreover, Bywater Solutions, among next speaker from BibLibr and PTFS, those organizations, they not only selling services for libraries, they granting money for people like Thomas, Jonathan Druart, Martin Renoir, who not with us, some more people in Koha QA team who working on open source tasks, not especially targeted for any of organizations. So these big players support open source by donating money. It's obviously that they have profit from this because they making better product and have this back. Otherwise this gear is not rolling, it's normal. But it's not that greedy normality, it's more humanitarian targeted and open source style normality. So I would say, please do this. And to continue big players on this field, after not less, we have Paul, please.
Hi, so my name is Paul Poulain. I come from France, and I started to work on Koha in 2002, if I'm not wrong. If I'm not wrong, I was a 6th committer. After the 3 initial ones, there was one guy from Poland who committed a few patches, and some Steve Thompson from Canada. Then I started. And maybe we can say that at this time that the Koha community started to become international, and that changes a lot of things because the first version of Koha was only in English and not translatable. So there was a movement in order to make it translatable, etc. And I founded, I was a 5-year self-employed around Koha, and I founded Biblibo in 2007. And now we are a company of 25 people, so much smaller than Bywater. But we are in France, so our country is also much smaller. And there are 6 people from Biblibo this week. Gladys, who is there, Arthur, who is there, Sophie and Laurence and Stefan, who left already, and Matthias, who will arrive soon. Sorry? Yeah. And that's it.
So this become a tradition, I see, that I should speak now. Paul, if you look into Koha 20 million lines of code we have now, right? 20 million, or was it 17 million lines of code in Koha repository now? Guys, technical people. 20 million lines of code. How much millions on you personally?
No, not a million. I think I am still the 4th committer or 5th committer on Koha, something like that. But that was, I must say, Chris and I have some kind of fake numbers, because at the beginning of Koha, we were using CVS, and CVS, one change equals 1 commit. So we have a lot of commits.
Exactly.
Now that would be just 1 patch.
When you switch it to Git, you already had huge Koha, which was made by you as well.
Yeah.
And Chris, but so, and other people behind. But I would say that you, despite you representing big business which gives Koha service for France and neighbor countries, yeah, but also you very big contributor in code. So you are, for Perl people to say, this guy knows Perl.
Well, so, me, no, not anymore.
Not anymore.
I'm not developing for 8 years, something like that.
No, it's unforgettable.
Trust me, you can forget.
Remember those nights with
Maybe
regular
because
expressions?
I'm old. No. Now I'm doing business. I'm developing business, so I don't develop anymore. But I agree with you that we are contributing, and I think Nick or Chris said we contribute because what we give to the community comes back to our business. So what comes from our business, we give back to our community, and it makes a virtuous circle. Yeah. So I'm not considering that I am doing a donation. I am contributing because it is in my own interest to contribute.
So, Eric.
Hi, everybody. Bonjour. Eric Bégin from Indibro in Canada. Basically, I founded Indibro back in 2006. where it was like Koha before the version 3. I remember there were some screenshots this morning with the 3.0 version of Koha. I remember the one before that. That was a while ago, and another technology also. So yeah, so basically we're supporting Koha in Canada, mostly for French-speaking libraries, which is another challenge, I think, for people who are not English-speaking, like to join the community. I think it's much more easier for English-speaking clients of ours to join the community, but we're doing the proxy between the Koha community and our clients in that matter.
Okay. Did you say that you will host KohaCon next year?
I forgot that.
That's why.
Did I?
And you asked why I'm here.
Yeah. KohaCon next year, probably at the end of September. I don't know. Is Caroline still here? No. So yeah, she's here. You're gonna meet her tomorrow. End of September 2024. So it will be about that weather over there in Canada, in Montreal. What else?
Now you will be surprised. Did you told for people that it will be Koha and Perl conference?
I didn't say that yet.
But that's
we're
the
working.
thing.
Yeah.
So next year we will have conference like this, but before this happen, Eric thought it will be just KohaCon. I think you don't need any more arguments that you see that it will be Koha and Perl conference. You have my promise and contribution to participate as small co-organizer, not important, but to help you to have Perl track, and Perl community will accept this idea that we will have Canada next year. Some of you might come, or if you need support, you have 1 year to get some tasks from those guys, have grants and be sent by company of those to Canada, so come on.
And
but,
if you have any Perl monks in Canada that you know, just send me their information.
First of all, they will think to replace them by themselves, but then, okay, plan B. But we will have Perl, Koha conference in Canada. In next year, you will be hosting it, and this is main organizer, so please accept this fact. But also, I do ask you, and I call us, all of us, to do an effort to contribute to this conference, because conference made not only by one organizer, but conference made by those people who bringing talks, experience, and conference made by those people who decide to come as listener. If there will be no listeners, then no reason for speakers to speak. So actually, it's on all of us for this conference to happen, to contribute, start thinking which talks you might give on Perl track for Perl people and on Koha track for Koha people in Canada, in Montreal, in 1 year from today, plus or minus.
September.
So, next, Andrew.
So I'm Andrew. I'm representing PTFS Europe here, of which there are 6 of us here also. And we're a support company. And we also support libraries just as BibLibra and Bywater Solutions and InLibro and others. And I guess I'm a little bit of a fraud on this lineup. So if there's a lineup of criminals, I'm the one that you should pick out, because I'm not a Perl developer at all. One patch, but Martin wrote it for me. So, and I'm also not a librarian. But I guess I'm a commercial guy, and my job is to think about the commercial realities of everything and work on how those realities can translate into a community context like this, and make sure that we don't forget the commercial realities, but they also don't overpower the goodness in a community that we all enjoy working in. So that's kind of my role.
Okay, and my role is whatever, but to say something what I want people to know about you, that you're representing PTFS Europe, United Kingdom company, which gives Koha service around that area and much more. And despite you saying you are not a Perl developer, it's even better example to say for Koha people and for just people who not so much yet Koha here and on video, and those people who not yet Perl, that you see, not even if you're not yet Perl developer, you can join our community. So everyone allowed and accepted. And moreover, this person and persons like you, and we are grateful for that, making every software developer, every programmer paid, because to pay you need to have something to pay. Those people making those lumps of money rotating, and also librarian to be satisfied with quality of that product which company and programmer provides. So you are important person and you're doing that big thing and representing this structure. I would say now I have all three of those, on my opinion, from business point of view. We have three biggest players in the world, not in the Koha world, but generally in the universe. And these are Bywater, BibLiber, and PTFS. So, next, Thomas.
Hola, I am Tomás. I'm from Argentina. Back in my early ages, I was a sysadmin at the library. I've always been an open source advocate, and that's what drives me. My first contact with Koha was writing some build files for Gentoo, so I could run on my servers. In 2010, I think, I became a committer in Koha, and I felt so proud. God damn it! I'm still proud about it. I enjoy a lot being part of this community. That's what I enjoy the most. I enjoyed that more than coding or anything else, and that's why I'm here. I'm grateful for being able to be part of an open source community. I'm grateful to Bywater for funding me sometimes. I'm not sure what to say, but I'm sitting here because my wife is taking care of the kids, and I'm grateful about that. I hope to be part of this for long term. And if I have something to give, I would say I would like to help building more community. Even regarding Perl, I don't think I'm a Perl developer. I'm a Koha developer, and I would like to become a Perl developer. I would like to learn more about it.
Okay, so one thing I want to say on after your speech, that you said about wife means that you understand how to delegate the things. That's why you are release manager how many times in a row?
I think this is the third time.
So it's already will be 2 years, not full.
No. It will
one
be
and a half. 1.5 years you're leading Koha technical side development, and it's not
trying to.
Yes, you able to delegate.
No one can hoard cats. You know
that book by itself, but name is very well. Yes, so you are behind current Koha releases, and you leading as release manager what we have with every release this year and past year. So that's great. Before that, by the way, we have Jonathan Druart here, who was another previous release manager, still in Koha QA team, but seems Jonathan delegating things in slightly different way. When kids arrived, Jonathan reassigned that. But it's good delegation to reassign this on Thomas, right? So you also can delegate. But thank you for that as well, for being release manager and for community, for Perl community people to understand that that guy says, I'm not that Perl developer. That guy who commits every patch in Perl code base in Koha, which fully made in Perl. So that's somehow shy declaration by him, I would say. But welcome. Thank you for your contribution. And one more thing. We have one guy there from Turkey to represent one more country. Can you speak about yourself, please, Mark?
Hello. Nice to hear. Nice to be here. I'm Mengü from Turkey. Some of you know that we have done I think it is still the biggest installation of Koha with more than 1,200 branches of libraries. It is still working, but in the old version, we don't give any more support to the Minister of Culture. There is another firm. In fact, they don't get the support for 3 years. It's very hard to upgrade to new version. We are happy to be a part of Koha community and Perl community. We started Perl with Koha community, of course. We know much more about Koha.
Yes, and again to say that Mengü made 1,200 Koha in branches covered. So 1,200 libraries working, started to work with Koha because of your effort and your team.
Yeah.
So that's...
And of course, all of the...
Of course, but this is what... In that time, it was great contribution for you as well by Koha customers, which also make Koha valuable. And thanks for doing that. And this is important. And by the way, it's already well known by Ukrainian team that many interesting experiences will be obtained from this person and this team, how they made, including mistakes and problems and solutions. So thank you for being part of this community. That's to say, thank you.
Thank you.
That's to say, only one of us remembered to call someone from the room. Do you want one of you to present someone whom you think important person to be known by everyone else?
Hi, I'm Tomas. I would like to introduce you to Catherine Fisher. She's sitting there. She's our QA manager.
How we can even not invite you here?
She's the library superhero. Like she takes care of we don't break anything for the libraries. She's the best.
Yes, this is a right thing, and thanks for Catherine. We talk with you, okay, mostly one direction. I have in your email mostly like once per few days about QA things, problems which you are arising against people and development team. I would say you as our current Koha release team facilitator. So thank you for that.
Owen, if you were hoping we will forget you, we haven't. I wanted to introduce Owen, coming from Athens County in Ohio. He worked on Koha for 15 years, 20 almost. Okay, 20 years, and he mostly does UX interface update changes, and he does a lot of work. And I think also we can thank his library because he has some time dedicated by his library, and there are only a few libraries who are doing that, dedicating some resource to work for the community itself. If you have heard, our companies, we are doing business, so we need to have developers working on that. Owen, his employer, does not do business on Koha, they are just using Koha. Do you want to add something?
Thank you, Owen. And I would say that I meet you every day in commits in Bugzilla. So you were before in person, you were for me represented by name and lot of comments and contributions in Bugzilla inside tickets. So now I'm glad to meet you in person. Thanks for that. Whom else?
I want to add Magnus also to the talk because I think he is in the community since a while also, and is present at most of the PerlKohaCon I went. So
Chris, you wanted to.
I was going to do Owen, so I'll do Owen again. No, that was it.
Do that again.
So I met Owen in 2003, and when I went to the, we were talking in the break. I met Owen when his wife was pregnant with their first child, and she has now turned 20. So it made me feel really, really old. But no, Owen is quite amazing because, like he mentioned, he's not. He works for a library, so he's one of the. There are a few, but he's by far the longest and most prolific. Committer to Koha that doesn't work for a support company.
I think he has more patches in Koha than I do, but I forgive you now.
Perfect. So, someone else? Yes, this person also should introduce himself.
Well, I'm Arthur Suzuki. I work for LibLibre. Paul hired me 4 years ago, but I didn't want to talk about me. I also want, although she left, she's not here anymore, but introduce Sonia Bouy. She's been working for the Koha community for almost 10 years, probably more. And she's been very involved into organizing and federating the French users of Koha. And so, although she's not here now, thank you for her job.
Do we need to introduce someone else? Esa-Pekka, maybe you help me to not to forget. Let me finish. What the think of this idea is to understand for all of us whom we have who can do something for Koha and Perl and decide or having experience inside their minds. So those are people needed for us.
Yes, I have to mention him because he doesn't seem to be here, but I would like to, and he will definitely be at the reception, so you will get to know him. Is Ari Mäkiranta, who is the CEO of Koha Suomi Limited. Koha Suomi is a non-profit company owned by the Finnish municipalities that use Koha. And I think it was Ari's initiative that originally brought Koha in Finland. And it was just a couple of small libraries in the eastern Finland back then. But now they have more new customers than they can really take at the moment. So more and more libraries are changing into Koha as we speak. So he's done a great job for the community and for the product.
Yes, it's very important thing that we have here on this list. You definitely know what is Perl and what is Koha. I already pretty full explained it what we have with Ukrainian Library Restoration Initiative and Ukrainian team here. National Library of Finland, represented by Esa-Pekka, me and team, and this happening we have. But why Helsinki yliopisto here? Helsinki yliopisto means in Finnish University of Helsinki. It's upper standing organizations which keeps National Library in its structure, and actually that's from where resources comes, and these premises and funding for these conferences for National Library, which then stream it to us when what we have here. That's why National Library and Helsinki yliopisto something one big from like organizational structure thing. And what just as Pekka said about Ari Mäkinranta, Koha Suomi is pretty powerful structure which do not that visible things for Koha community nowadays, but added a lot. And generally we have how much? Up to 3,000 libraries nowadays. 300, sorry, 300 or 200. But let's say this way, that Koha Suomi structure is switched almost all Finnish public libraries to Koha and supporting them. So that's important player in our field. What else? What else? We covered everyone. We presented everyone. Yes, please.
So I was just going to mention, and she just stepped out of the room, but Jay-Z and Kelly, who have been providing educational materials through Bywater and beyond to the Koha community. If we're going to talk about people who make contributions, you know, they're teaching the librarians how to use it, convincing the librarians to use it, helping the librarians use it. That really does move it along. And then now that you've let me talk for a little bit, I may as well point out, you know, all the salespeople as well. Like Andrew said, he's not really a Perl developer, but he's selling the software and really like moving it along and bringing it out to people, as well as Nate out there. Nate, along with Brendan, who like spent a lot of time, you know, shaping Koha and bringing it to everybody. And then also just to mention anyone who works on Perl, because yes, Koha is written in Perl, but it doesn't only use its own modules. We use a lot of things that come from the Perl community. So we really are indebted to the Perl community as well as trying to be a part of it. And then as you know, Tomas pointed out, a lot of us, maybe we're not involved in the Perl community. We don't call ourselves Perl developers because we came in through the library world. A lot of us consider ourselves librarians first and developers second. And so we don't always think of ourselves as Perl developers. We just kind of happened into it. But so thank you.
You kind of just started talking about them, but I think the other people we should mention, and this is going to go into not just mentioning people type of a little segment, it is the libraries and the librarians themselves, because after all, that's why this whole thing exists. And they are also the people that drive us forward in terms of telling us where we need to go next. And that's kind of what I wanted to say next, was about this is great, and thank you, Andrii, for the opportunity for us to share the important people or whatever it is that we're sharing. But actually, for me, there are some challenges, and not just challenges about the idea of Perl and Koha working closer together. That's something we'll have to work on if we're going to make that happen. But I think in the UK, and I'm going to speak just for the UK for a minute, we have challenges in our libraries, and it's mainly around funding. And I'm sorry to be commercial, but we do actually need money to make Koha carry on. And the libraries have less of it. And they're closing. And so what we need to be thinking about as developers and the developer community is how do we make Koha through Perl indispensable to not just the library, but the communities that they serve? Because only if we can do that will libraries stop being closed. And so that's, for me, the biggest challenge for all of us, is to respond to the idea that we had the ambassador, this was, we felt very honored to have the ambassador from Ukraine here, who mentioned the importance of education and the role of libraries in education. And we're all on that. We all get that. But unfortunately, those that govern us don't always get that. So we've got to do it the way we can, which is through the code that we write, through the way that we sell the software, through the way that we support the software. And that's, for me, like the real challenge. That was the challenge, not bigging somebody up. But the libraries, I was bigging the libraries up, so there we go.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so thank you. I will provide microphone for anyone who wants. Then I don't see so much interest, but I have idea. It's proper thing. We speak it now a lot about Koha. I kindly ask you, Perl community people, be free and like improvise, but tell something else from your side. What you feel on this?
Last night, I was kind of terrified. I was running and I got trapped in a dead-end alley by Andrii, asking me, "Do you want to be on a panel?" I said no to him for 15 minutes and he didn't understand. So I said yes. I wasn't sure what I was going to do here. So I've been sitting in on Koha talks throughout part of the day. And someone said something which is really fascinating to me. Given the size of the Perl community, the Koha community, the number of libraries which can benefit from this, someone said there's not a Koha Foundation, a guiding organization. Now, there's a Perl Foundation. Now, the Perl Foundation is a little bit unfortunate because it grew organically and independently of the core Perl 5 porters, so they didn't have a synergy together. It's always been a problem. There's also been the problem that for the P5P, that's the Perl 5 porters, people who actually implement the Perl language. My apologies, thank you, Dom. And there also wasn't much of a business representation there because businesses are critically dependent on Perl, and they didn't really have any feedback. Booking.com for a long time worked around this because he simply hired core developers. That was kind of a back door into the process. And I'm thinking, if there is to be something there, why not a Koha Foundation to first and foremost represent the needs of the libraries, because that's what people are there to serve. And then who are the stakeholders who would be sitting on such a foundation? The libraries, the business people, the Koha developers, and potentially the Perl developers who would have a better understanding of some of the larger needs, because so many of us, we come in to do what we do to scratch our personal itch without understanding what the others need. And because on the Perl side, we have done a terrible job of joining across the different institutions inside of our overall institution, understanding their needs. Perhaps that is something which could benefit Koha in the long run. And you are a scary man.
But let's use this power for good. Okay? Any updates on this, your view, how you see from Perl side, or some insights which you obtained right now even?
I've been thinking hard on what kind of messages is worth bringing forward here. I've heard about Koha for a little while. So for me, seeing like the energy you guys managed to put forward, and so many of you here, that's like, wow, that's impressive actually. So awesome that this is working. But at the same time, I'm thinking in the Perl community, we have some recurring and maybe even structural issues that we wish we could solve somehow. And having a strong community like the Koha community help shape the narratives around those issues so we can together solve them is something I care about. One of the things I personally would like to offer as something to think about is how we operate as open source communities. And in the Perl community, we have a whole lot of people who do important stuff. And one of them is a guy called Nick Bowers, who wrote a blog post a few years ago saying that the Perl community isn't a community, it's a constellation of lots of communities. It's bits and pieces that have a language in common, and in a sense, that is true, but at the same time, we have stuff that draws us together in the language and in the attitudes that language brings, and I'd like to suggest that we expand this a little bit. And the way I try to do this is in the following narrative, and that is that when we as a business or an institution use any open source community, and we depend on that community, whether it's Perl or Python or anything else, I think it would be useful and valuable to stop actually thinking of the communities and what they produce as products, and rather deliverers of products, and rather think of them as a deliverer of projects. There's an interaction going on here. And in a sense, when an institution or a business really depends on something open source, you kind of adopt new colleagues, in a sense. You have a bunch of colleagues out there in the world that help you solve some bits and pieces of what you're trying to do, that just do give their help and their time and their effort for fun, for free, for some whatever reason. And if they have a bad day, it can affect you and your business and your institution and how successful you are. And so I would like actually to suggest that any of us who interact with open source communities, whether it's the Perl community or the Koha community, if we depend on a community like this, let's just see if we can care about some of the people there, the individuals. The way I tried to picture this at a talk in Leipzig, German Perl workshop a year ago, was to show a group picture of Perl developers, and I suggested take this group picture and show them to your colleagues at work and introduce each of the individuals there as if they were colleagues. In the sense that what we just did now, we introduced a whole lot of people here, so we get to know each other a little bit better, I get to places, maybe we can remember some names and faces. But if we don't expose our colleagues at work to the volunteers we depend upon, we're not building those bridges we actually need to do in order to succeed. So that's my thought in this building. It's really awesome to see the Koha community and you guys here caring and telling and sharing. That's brilliant stuff. We have some of that in the Perl community also. But we need more of that. And most of all the stakeholders out there that depend upon us, they could be here too, caring and sharing and getting to know each other and showing that as a community, we support each other. And there are so many ways to support each other. It doesn't have to be code. It could be if a community needs marketing resources, that the business can say, okay, we'll spend some marketing resources on that. There are a few businesses that do stuff like that, and there's room for more. That was my message.
Thanks. First, I thought that I will call you to a panel at 17:30. You will come, and in 1 hour we will tell what we will do and just will go doing that. This isn't not happen such easy, but at least what I can say that you see, I know everyone by name out of the blue. This is a good step forward to next thing, what you said, for example, like thinking what we can create, how steering structure we can create between Perl and Koha and together and inside Koha and improve. So this is just starting of the things. We just pushing the ball, but let's hope. It's strange. We pushing ball not out on the top from the rocks to the abyss. No, we're pushing that ball up to the top. But if we will push it right, if it roll magically by itself upwards further. Let's believe in that, okay? But other things I will do. We have 20 minutes left to go to that reception. Not 20, 23, so I have 3 minutes for questions. So, first of all of you now, more or less, understand who those people are, who they're among those. So feel free, please, come each other and talk through up. You already positively doomed to be locked in these 5 days here. So make the most of it through these 5 days. Make this impulse for this ball to roll up by itself. It's up to you. One more small thing. Few questions or few phrases, but very short from the audition.
I think, Andrii, now we really...
Sorry. So those of you who want to tell something, who want to express himself to me or to those people or among community, you're welcome to do this through these 5 days and today on the evening on the reception. I also will put a message on you. Please raise a hand who will be here on Thursday. So many of those people will be. I think we will continue on workshop, and I propose to continue what we started today. We will sit in one auditorium together around the round table.
Thank you,
and
Andrii.
speak on that.
Stop him.
Okay, Esa-Pekka, please take a lead and grab a mic from me.
Yeah.
All mics.